Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. As you can probably see, I have again shoved the table over to this side of the room because there's no light at the moment, and the little light that we've got actually looks like it might be fading. I think it's about to rain, so I'm hoping you're going to be able to watch this video, okay? But I thought today we could just continue on from the repot and chats that I did the other day. It came in at, I think, about an hour and a half in total, which was quite a long video. So I still had some more questions to make my way through, and I still had some more planty things that I wanted to do. I've also got some new things to show you since that last video. So I just thought we could carry on, really. You don't need to have watched the other one first if you don't want to. But yes, it's gonna just be another very chilled plant choresy video today. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learned over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And as I always say with these kind of videos, if you've been struggling to find motivation to do your own plant chores, or you just haven't been making time for it, use this as your sign, grab some plants, do some things along with me, and hopefully we can get some things done together. But yes, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So if you did watch my plant chores video that came before this one, which I will link down below if you want to go and watch it, if you watched that video, then you will have heard me talk about a plant that I ordered that day of filming the video. And said plant has just arrived, and oh my God, it is beyond gorgeous. I am so excited about it. It is, I haven't taken it out properly of the packaging yet, but it is a narrow form antherium pallidiflorum, and oh my God, I love the antherium pallidiflorum so much. It is hands down one of my favorite plants, and you guys were actually saying, you were like, if you like the normal pallidiflorum, then you should totally get a narrow form. And I saw this on the Eastern Tropicals website. If you're in the UK and you don't know about Eastern Tropicals, honestly, I don't talk about them that much, just purely because I want to kind of keep them to myself. They are such an incredible small business. They have the most incredible range of rare plants. This is also not sponsored or gifted or anything like that. I just think they are amazing, and I've got so many beautiful plants from them over the years. So yeah, I'm so excited about this one. Obviously it's quite small at the moment, but if it grows in the same way as my normal pallidiflorum, which I see no reason why it wouldn't, then it is one that's going to grow very, very quickly indeed. So yeah, I'm just going to start off actually by taking this one out and having a look at it. I don't usually repot plants when I first get them, and to be honest, I think, like, knowing what I know about the company I got this from, I wouldn't have thought there's going to be anything that desperately needs doing to this plant. I just want to have a look at it. But I did something very unconventional with my big pallidiflorum, and in fact I'll show you in a minute, but if you have watched my videos recently, then you'll have seen that I had a bit of an accident with my big pallidiflorum. I very sadly, oh hello baby, I very sadly didn't put it back on the top shelf that I had it on carefully enough, and it came crashing down and several bits of it broke, including its newest, most beautiful leaf that is over 80 centimetres long. It's just so gorgeous, and the main vein had kind of split, and so this is kind of in the same vein, along the same lines of what I did with my Monstera Deliciosa when I got sunburnt. I know I painted that plant. I'm not suggesting you should do these things, by the way. It's just strange choices that I make with my own plants sometimes. But the big leaf of my pallidiflorum, in fact, I'm going to talk about it. I may as well just get it and show you now. So yeah, the big main leaf here split, and you can kind of still see it just there. It split along that main vein. It was just kind of hanging off by a thread, and so I sellotaped the plant together, and I was like, at least that will just hold it in place and mean that it won't get any worse. And I was sat on the sofa last night and I was looking at the sellotape, and I was like, I really hate the look of that. I was like, how could I do something, how could I do something to kind of have the same effect, but that I didn't have to look at and think it was horrible looking? And so as I say, I've done something again, very unconventional, and I wouldn't recommend it for the health of the plant, but it's worked. I got a little piece of toilet roll and I literally cut it to be the same, like the same width as the vein, so really, really thin. And then I just put it over the vein and I just painted a little bit of super glue on it. As I say, like, I know that is not, when I say beneficial for the health of the plant, I actually don't think, considering this is all calloused, I don't think it will do any like bad long-term damage to the plant. But as you can tell, it's held it in place really nicely. And now I don't need to look at sellotape and it is just looking fine. So currently I have no regrets with doing that. I can't think of how else really, apart from having sellotape on the plant forever, I could have really saved it. But I'm going to be very careful with this one because it is currently putting out a new leaf just there, which I'm so excited about. And I'm hoping it might even be even bigger than this one, which is just insane. So yeah, I'm going to put it back in its safe position and then I'm going to get back to the other one. So yeah, coming back to the narrow form Pallidiflorum, as I say, if this one grows similarly to that one, I feel like I will be able to achieve a really lovely level of growth in quite a short amount of time with this one, which is the hope. I know I keep banging on about the fact that I'm running out of space, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to bring out the best of my plants. It's like a lose-lose situation, or a win-lose situation. Win-lose situation? I don't know. Oh wow, it's already got great aerial roots around the top. Look at those going down into the soil. Can you see them? Wow. I'm so tempted to take a peek at the roots, but I know I don't need to. Okay, as much as I want to, I'm going to put this plant to one side. I'm going to just let it acclimate for a week or two. It would probably be fine if I was to like look at the roots and do stuff to it now. It probably would be fine. I have done that before, but why take the risk? It's clearly a happy, healthy plant. I have no cause for concern. I'm gonna just be a grown-up and practice some restraint and leave it as it is. But, oh, okay, where do I go next? So this is really quite exciting. I got some tissue culture seedlings from Aroid Asia not that long ago. I think probably maybe 2-3 months ago now. And they are Papillomaminum hybrids of some sort. I'm still not quite sure on the accurate idea of them. I keep meaning to reach out to Aroid Asia and ask. But all of them have taken really well and they've sized up so much in a short amount of time. And as you can see, this one here has put out not a mature leaf, but a leaf that makes me think it could potentially move to a bigger container. So I think maybe I might start off today by just dividing this one from the others. I did bring, I brought a little jar over. So assuming, we'll have a look at the roots first, but I think something about this size might be good for it. And then, yeah, hopefully just encourage it to size up even more because Papillomaminum, such a tongue twister, hence why people typically refer to them as pappies instead of their full name. But typically they do make beautiful hybrid antheriums. So see, I'm very excited about these. And the fact that I've got quite a few of them, not that I therefore will be like reckless with them or anything, but because I've got a few, I can kind of experiment. Oh my God, I think this is very rooty actually. I can experiment a little bit more than perhaps I might be brave enough to do if I just had one. So I've got 3 of them in this one, rooting in sphagnum moss, and I can see that the roots have spread a lot. So I'm just going to try and take it out very carefully. But as I say, I was keen to finish the questions that you guys sent in, and the next one was how much do you water your plants and how long does it take? This is a hard one to answer because if I do a straight through from start to finish, like for example, if pretty much every single plant is in need of a water, and I'm only talking about watering here, not like checking or dusting or anything else that I might do sometimes for my plants. If I'm just doing a water, I would say probably about 3 or 4 hours. And that's not because I've got such a big collection. I think that's probably just because the way in which I grow quite a lot of my plants requires me to like leave them to drain and then pick them back up and put them, like for example, all of my hanging plants currently, in fact all but I think about 2 or 3 are in pots that do have drainage. So like I'll take them down off their hangers, I'll put them onto my washing up bowl with my little cooker grill across the top of it, and then I'll water them, wait for them to drain, and that just takes quite a bit of time. As my collection expands, you'll probably notice I'm getting more and more things into no drainage. It is just making my life so much easier. And yeah, I guess kind of moving towards a slightly different and new way of growing, which allows me to be able to care for more things in a shorter amount of time. So yeah, that's something that I feel is a very good decision for me right now. And if you have got a big collection and if you do want to add more plants to your collection, then it is something that I would personally recommend based on what I know so far. But yeah, if I do like a typical day of plant care, I'll usually try, if I possibly can, and put 1 day a week aside and just dedicate it purely to plant care. I don't always get the luxury of doing that, but if I can, then I love doing that. I can absolutely make it last a day. I can go through from start to finish. I'll do like little bitty things, like usually there's a little bit of pest treating to do. I'll often get plants into the shower. I said in the last video, but I am not always great at dusting my plants, but typically I'll get them into the shower and kind of just like shower them down. And yeah, I can absolutely make a full day of it. And I love those days so much. So also, I think what I might do, because I've just taken it out of sphagnum moss and that's what I'm left with. I think what I might do is remove a couple of these like much lower leaves, like that little one. Oh, that little one down there, just there. Just because I'd like to pot this probably to about there, and I don't want that one there to rot. So I'm just gonna chop that back. I'm actually wondering, oh, in fact, I've got 3 more in here. There was 4 altogether, and I've got another 1 or 2 in my cabinet. I'm actually wondering if maybe I put a couple of them up together. If I'm going to use this container, actually, I think I should probably just do 1, because I think it's going to spread quite quickly. But I am going to definitely pot up these other ones soon. For now, I'm just going to leave them as they were before in this little container and put the cup over them for extra humidity. But I will come back to them probably in a few weeks, I would say. This has also been such a great little makeshift way to just trap humidity in that container. I've barely had to rehydrate the sphagnum moss. It's just been keeping itself really moist. And yeah, could almost go with a bigger container, to be honest, but then I go really big and I don't want to go really big just yet. So I'm just like, I'll very briefly explain what I'm doing because most of you are probably sick and tired of hearing about it, but I'm just going to put a little layer of semi-hydro. I'm using Soil Ninja's Chunky Pon equivalent. A little layer of that at the bottom. I've given everything in this box a good rinse, so although dust does just kind of build up over time as it kind of grates together, it's not super dusty. And then I'm just going to put some chunky mix on top. I don't know why I keep thinking the camera's over there. I'm just going to put some chunky mix on top, and then I will just be able to monitor the reservoir at the bottom of this. And that is just how I'm enjoying growing a lot of plants at the moment, a lot of my plants. And as I just said, it does just make it such a low maintenance, easy way of doing things. I'm just going to add a little bit more to the mix I've got here. But while I do that, oh, this next one's a fun one. Someone said, would you rather mealybugs forever or spider mites for half the year every year? I love these would you rather questions. Would you rather mealybugs forever or spider mites for half the year every year? So I guess by that, I'm going to assume you mean when you have the Spidermites for half the year, I assume they affect every plant. And I'm going to assume there's nothing you can do to get them gone. They are just there for 6 months. I mean, I definitely think mealybugs are the grosser one because they're big and they're just horrible things. So yeah, they're definitely more gross. So having them forever would be gross, but they're arguably easier to spot. And like you can squash them, or you can get a bit of alcohol on a Q-tip and like get rid of them that way. Oh, they are gross though. If I had to manage one of them, I think I would actually probably go for mealybugs forever as opposed to Spidermites for half the year, just because Spidermites they both do damage, but Spidermites do more subtle damage that, as I say, isn't always as easy to spot, but they're also very hard to get gone. So no, I would want neither, actually. But I think I would probably go for the mealybugs if I had to. What about you guys? What would you choose? That is a really, really hard one. But yeah, what would you choose and why? Also, if you've got other would you rathers, then please comment them down below. I think they're really fun. And yeah, I'd like to do more of them. They're really fun. Maybe we should do a full would you rather planty video. That could be fun. Are there any plants you used to hate and now love, and vice versa? I said it very recently, but I wouldn't say it was a hate, but I was never a fan of begonias. Oh, which reminds me, getting distracted. But do you guys know, do any of you know what this type of begonia is? It's so beautiful, and I got it on, well, I bought from a lovely Etsy seller about a month ago, and they very kindly included this one as a free gift along with the other cuttings that I'd ordered. And I put it in water and it's rooting amazingly, but I'm just not quite sure what it is. It's so pretty. But yes, I used to really not be a begonia fan. If you go back on my old videos, you'll be able to hear me say that, like, I don't get the hype with them. I don't really get, like, I know everyone's obsessed with begonias. I really don't like them. And honestly, I never really saw that changing. But yeah, I guess just as a person, as you just grow and evolve, like with loads of things in life, like your tastes change. And I got, what was the first begonia that I got? I think maybe it was the one I got as a one-leaf cutting, the Begonia Hertella that I got at the Bristol plant swap. I got that, as I say, one-leaf cutting. I put it in water. It rooted so quickly, like unbelievably fast. And I just found it really, really rewarding to grow. And I was like, oh my God, I'm really enjoying this plant. And so then I saw the Begonia Sinbad, which is this one here, which, oh, I'll take it out and show you it properly, actually, because it is my pride and joy. Just look at how gorgeous that is. And it is growing ridiculously quickly now. Like I took its stake out as well because I'm not quite sure how to trellis it, but it's so big. But yeah, then I got some cuttings of that one and I started building up that plant, and then I'd kind of got the bug. It's a little bit like Hoyas. I never saw the hype with Hoyas before I got my first Hoya, and then I got, I think it took a few. I think it took maybe 4 or 5, and then I was like, oh my God, these are really fun to grow. And then I needed to get all of them, and now I've got literally, I think, about 60 different species of Hoya in my collection. So yeah, I think begonia. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I can't, like, nothing is jumping out at me. I never used to be that interested in growing cacti or succulents. I used to be pretty much exclusively tropical plants. I know you can get tropical cacti, but like non-succulent, like more foliagey plants. Also, that took no time at all. Potted. So yeah, and obviously that has very much changed. I now have not a 50-50 split. I've definitely still got many more tropical plants than I do cacti and succulents, but I've got lots of semi-succulents. And I find them really, really lovely to grow. So I wouldn't ever say I hated them though. Again, if you've got ones that you used to hate and now you love, let me know. But I can't think of any personally. Someone said, what's your favorite form in plants? Do you mean like leaf shape? I'm going to assume that's what you mean. And also, as I do this, I'm going to attempt to get my Peperomia incana out of this jar that it's in, because I want to put it into this instead. I've said before about the ring on the jars, and it just makes it a little bit difficult to get the plants out of, so I'm going to try. But my favourite form, okay, so at the moment I'm really, really, really loving, I'm so scared of breaking this plant. I'm really loving strappy plants. Like I am loving strappy antheriums. Obviously I've just spoken about the pallidiflorum and the pallidiflorum narrow form. That I've got another strappy antherium in fact I've got a few other strappy antheriums. I've got my Vitarifolium, which is beautiful. I've also got one, I can never remember the name of it, Monterio or something like that. It's probably not that, but I really love that one. So yeah, strappy plants, very much, absolutely love them. Also, plants with widely spaced lobing. Again, I'm thinking of antheriums like the Antherium bullatus, I absolutely love. Unfortunately, mine hasn't given me good lobes yet. It's one that I'm still very much figuring out, to be honest. Have not got my head around yet. And I've also got a juvenile, oh God, I can't remember the name of anything. Antherium SP Condor, I think it's called. And that one, as it grows and matures, gets very, very loby, and I'm really excited for it to do that. I was going to say as well, I have found recently, and I don't know if it's maybe because I haven't been talking about my plants that much, but I absolutely have. There's lots that if I don't speak about them for like a few weeks or like a month or so, I do just start to forget their names. And I know I don't need to know all their names, but I just find it very satisfying knowing all their names. So I have actually ordered some more things that you get for outdoor plants, like little name tags that you can stick in, so I can start labeling them and I can start just like subtly learning the names if I do forget. Like I've got several types of Hoya that I love, and I'm like, I have no idea what you are, and I look the name up to put it on the screen for videos, and I'm like, I can't remember it again. So yeah, as I say, you really don't need to know the names, like the Latin names of all your plants, but I often get people asking me, and so it makes it much easier if I can just go, yes, that's Peperomia incana or whatever. Also, this, as I say, is why I'd like to move away from jar growing. I know I've said that, having just potted that one in a jar, but obviously I can monitor its roots quite well. And if I do need to break the jars, I will do it. I prefer not to have to, mainly because I don't want to waste a jar. Are we getting there? Yay. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh. Okay. So there's really no need for me to break up its root system too much. I will just need to, for this one, do quite a sandy mix. So again, am I out of sand? I think I might have seen a little bit in the cupboard. Otherwise I would usually replace that with semi-hydro, but I'm just going to reuse the semi-hydro that was on the bottom layer here, and probably just add a little bit more actually. have a look at the sand situation. Well, I have got a little bit. I've also got some finer semi-hydro, so if I need to use that for a mix, I can. And before I start mixing it up, I'm just going to change my camera battery because otherwise I will forget and my camera will die. Perfect. The next question as well was, how do you treat spider mites? And in the last video that I made, I spoke about how I treat thrips, and spider mites tends to be quite similar. Firstly, spider mites absolutely hate, they absolutely love warm, dry air. So typically when the central heating goes on, for example, that's when you will notice lots and lots of spider mites. So keeping the humidity high is a really good idea. And obviously if you've got lots of tropical plants anyway, then it's just kind of like a 2-in-1. It really helps anyway. So that is the first thing that I would suggest. But when I find spider mites, will typically get the plants either outside to the balcony when I haven't got scaffolding there, or through to the shower as quickly as I can. Again, horticultural soap. I get mine from Ladybird Plant Care. It's really, really awesome stuff. And I give the whole plant a really good wipe down. I usually use a sponge or a makeup brush or something like that, and I just give it a sponge down, horticultural soap, rinse it all through. If the infestation's bad, I will often change out the substrate, the soil. And then, yeah, as I always say, try and isolate your plants if you possibly can. I often find that I'm not really able to isolate my plants just because I've got so many and I haven't got the biggest space to work in. So lots of monitoring of your plants. Also, when I put them back in place, usually what I'll do is I'll give them a spritz down with neem oil and a drop of clove oil as well. I find that really, really helps at just warding off any from coming back. And I do believe clove oil, like if they eat it, it kills them, I think. I've had spider mites a few times over the summer, and that's worked really well. My alocasia Jacqueline has had spider mites, and oh my god, when that plant gets pests, it's such a nightmare because the top side of the plant is really bristly and they all get in there and you can't really get to them. So yeah, that has been my way of going about things with that plant and that pest, and that really works. Again, just to echo what I said in my video the other day as well, because I know I'm always banging on about like doing things naturally, and again I use predatory mites to help prevent spider mites. I'm all for doing things naturally, and I definitely, for me, like focusing on trying to create a symbiotic relationship in my home that mimics my plant's natural environment as much as I possibly can. It's never going to be bang on, but I know I always talk about that. However, I also said the other day, and I'm just going to reiterate, that I do often keep like pesticides on hand should I need to use them, so that if it becomes an infestation, if things do get bad, then I'm not losing my plants left, right and centre. Like, I don't typically have to use these things very often, and they're also not a surefire way to prevent things coming back. Also, they're not even a surefire way to eradicate pests completely. Like, it doesn't always work or in the way you want it to, but yeah, I always think that if it comes down to choosing, I don't know, your sanity or mental health, if it comes down to losing a plant or treating it with pesticides, if I'm having to make that choice, I'm like, why are you not just treating the plant with pesticides? I know we don't want to be doing it. I would always recommend doing it in a well-ventilated area or outside. Also, just a reminder that if you do use biological pest control, like predatory insects or anything like that, they will also likely be affected, because although they don't actually feed on the plant themselves, if they're going in and feeding on predators, if the predators have ingested the plant and that has pesticides on it and then they eat the pests, then they're probably going to die as well. So yeah, as I say, I went into more detail on that the other day, so I won't now, but that is my way of dealing with it, and typically it does tend to be pretty effective. It does just take a bit of time sometimes, and sometimes you'll think you've got it, and then a few weeks later you'll see a group of them again, some webbing, and it's like, oh god damn it. But it's just part of it, isn't it? It's not fun, but we all go through it from time to time. I think just regular checking, as obvious as it sounds, is the best way to prevent things getting out of hand. When I go around and do my watering routine, I think part of the reason why it typically takes me such a long time is because I do like to really take the opportunity to check my plants over. Sometimes that would be getting them in the shower if I suspect anything might be going on, giving them a wipe down, but it is just a really good excuse to like look at all little crevices of them. But yeah, cool. That's what that one is now looking like. And I know I said it before, but I'm really loving this no drainage, just being able to see like all the different layers of everything. It kind of feels like a cool little science experiment. And I wasn't quite sure how this plant was going to respond, to be honest, because this one it's a peperomia, it is a semi-succulent. And I was just like, is it just gonna rot? And it has grown beautifully since I've been growing it like this. So long may it last. Hopefully now it's got a little bit more space around the roots. Hopefully it will just continue to size up and grow beautifully. But then, something that I have been putting off for such a long time, is potting up this lovely Sea Blue. And I love the Sea Blue. I think it's such a lovely plant. It's one that I just haven't had the most luck with. And I think it's probably just because I've been a bit lazy with it. And this one I got as cuttings at one of the plant swaps from last year, and it is literally in the same cup as I got it in at the time as I picked it up. I think I even got it on the free table. And it's been in prop boxes, it's been in my cabinet, it's just kind of been knocking about for a while, and I know it is ridiculously, I don't even know if I'll be able to get it out easily. It is ridiculously rooty in here. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. But I would really like to get it out of sphagnum moss and maybe into semi-hydro or something. I found this hanging pot, and I was like, oh, it would look lovely in there. So I might try and do that. I know it's going to take a bit of time, but I would just love to have this plant growing happily and healthily in my collection again, because yeah, it's a really, in theory, oh hello baby, in theory it's a really easy one. I just haven't had the best luck. Also, I was going to say, Yoli has just got a new bed, and she is so adorable. The bed, yes, I know, is on the sofa. Hey, baby girl. Oh, you're such a good girl. Yes, you are. This is step one of training Yoli to use a bed. Put it in all of the places that she likes sleeping, and then at some point hope that... In fact, we have put it on the floor a couple of times, and she's gone on it on the floor. Not that I mind having her on the sofas, but... it's just adorable. Hello. You're such a sweet girl. This question, I think I kind of answered again the other day. It said, do you think you'll do YouTube forever? Yeah, I said the other day, like in a nutshell, I don't know. I love it so much. I love making videos. I love chatting to you guys. I love talking about plants. I love getting to do this. So I don't see any reason why I would stop, apart from it's no longer making me happy. So if that day comes, then I'll stop. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. That's pretty much the gist of it. Because yeah, I spoke the other day about like YouTube as a job and how it works and all that sort of stuff. Oh, and the one thing that I didn't say that I wish I had said at the time, so I will say now, is that obviously like you guys enable me to be able to do this. So if you've ever got any like feedback or anything you would like to see more of or anything like that, drop me a comment, let me know. I do read all of your comments. I do try to take as much on board as possible. Like, for example, if you're like, I love this kind of video, do more of these videos, then if I've got loads of people saying, do more of this video, then I'm like, ah, cool, I'll do more of that then. Because I do often find, and it's funny, this is the weird, like, YouTube algorithm that, like, is very boring in some ways, but I find that the types of video that I create that kind of do well and get views cycles quite a bit. Like sometimes I'll find that top 10 videos get loads of views, and then sometimes I'll find that these kind of more chill, chatty videos get get more views. And I know it's so not about just like getting all the views, but also in a like being a little bit realistic about it. When it is also work, you do sadly have to think about these things sometimes. So yeah, your feedback is always very useful for me, and I really appreciate it. So please do always feel free to let me know. And then someone said, is there anything you do now that you wouldn't have done before? Yes, well, I mean, primarily no drainage growing. That would have totally freaked me out even a year ago. Even a few years ago, it would have really freaked me out. I've always spoken about how drainage is so important. And it is, but also there's ways that you can adapt and do things a little bit differently, and that's what I'm, I guess, just being a little bit braver with nowadays. I think I didn't take as many risks back then, and now I'm finding the experimenting side of things way more fun. So yeah, I think experimenting with my plants is something that, what was the question? That I wouldn't have done before as much. I think I played it very safe because I was so scared of anything going wrong. And I think, like with anything or any hobby or anything, as you get more confident, you do feel able to take a few more risks here and there. So yeah. But like the no drainage growing, as I say, is just, for me, quite transformative. I think it's amazing. I think it's something that I really kind of wish I'd done sooner, but also I think I would have outgrown this place very quickly if I had been doing that, because I think I would have had so many more plants. Also, just because, I was going to say, just because you're doing no drainage growing, it doesn't mean that you're any less or any more susceptible to pests. I, at the moment, have got, oh my God, fungus gnats galore. I've ordered some nematodes, which in fact should arrive today. If you're wondering, that is my go-to for fungus gnats. I use nematodes. They're scarid fly nematodes. I just water them through with my water and my fertiliser, water them through with my plants in both soil and semi-hydro. It gets rid of them so quickly, and it's really beneficial for the plants as well. So it's a win-win. But yeah, I ordered, I think, about 6 packs of them, which are arriving today. Again, Ladybird Plant Care. Which I will link down below. But yeah, they are absolutely amazing. And oh my goodness, this is just like a solid ball of roots. Sometimes they kind of pull away quite easily, but when you've been growing something in the same mossy substrate for such a long time, it just is so difficult. Fortunately, these aren't super spindly roots. I just accidentally broke some of them. But yeah, they're not super spindly. That's what they're looking like. And the plant actually looks very healthy. Have you ever got rid of a plant and then missed it? Oh, okay, I can think of... I don't know if missed it is the right word. There's one that sprung to mind. I think overall, the answer is probably no. If I do get rid of a plant, it's very rarely on impulse. It's usually something I've really kind of thought about for several months, unless it's like one that I'm just like, oh no, don't like it. But I got rid of my Monstera Thai constellation for a very short amount of time. I had a little baby Tycon, and I think I only had it for maybe 8 months or something. It gave me a couple of new leaves. It was very pretty, but I just found it to be so susceptible to root rot, and I was just so sick and tired of dealing with the issues that it was giving me, and I was like, it's not doing enough to be worth this hassle. So I actually, in fact, I gave it to one of you guys at one of the London plant swaps, I think at the beginning of last year. Yeah, it is the only reason I say I don't regret getting rid of it, but it is one that at some point I would like to try again with. I think I don't have any regret in giving up with that one. But when I have, again, a bit more space, when I have a bit more time to dedicate to getting things right with that plant. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd get one now, but I just know that although they're quite slow to grow, they can be quite fast to size up. So yeah, that's the only one that I can really think of. I know sometimes like the thought of getting rid of a plant can be so daunting, but it is actually quite comforting to know. I've never really thought of it like that, but it is quite comforting to know that I've got rid of so many plants in my time, and that's the only one that makes me go, oh, I'd get that plant again. Yeah, I can't think of any others that I feel regret with. So yeah, that, I guess that kind of says, like, trust your gut a bit if you're on the edge with a plant, if you're not quite sure, but you feel like getting rid of it might be the right thing. I don't know, maybe give it to a friend for a month or something and see if you forget about it, because I think that's the thing. I think typically when I clear space in my collection, when I do get rid of some things, it's usually because either things are a bit overwhelming and I'm going to make my life easier, or I want to get some new plants. And if I get new plants, then I often forget about the old ones quite quickly. So for me, I don't think I've got much regret there. Which leads me on to something I'm about to say, which I did something very naughty. I bought another plant last night. I know I need to stop, and I know I'm banging on about not having enough space and showing you this new plant. And I was on Etsy again, and there's a lovely shop run by a lovely guy that I've met many, many times. His name's Mark, and he runs a lovely shop called the Eden Lab. He does a lot of tissue culture and he clones lots of plants, and I think there might still be one left, so if you are an antherium person, run to his shop now. And in fact, I'm not going to say what it is because I might do an unboxing of this one. It is, oh God, it's such an exciting one. Let's just say that typically, at least here in the UK, you don't see this type of antherium going for any less than about, any less than about 600 quid, and I found it in his shop for under £100, and I am so excited about it. So excited. So yeah, that was, for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer. I probably shouldn't be getting another plant or spending that amount of money on a plant. But you know, when you see a bargain, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet, and my brain went bargain. So yeah, I'm very excited to show you that when it arrives. Also, someone else, one of the questions was, when are we going to get to see your secret antherium collection? And I think I probably will make a video just showing you my antheriums and having a chat through what's worked so far and what hasn't. I'll probably do that in the next couple of months or so. As I've said before, it's not that I'm deliberately trying to keep things secret. It's just that when I show you things and I talk about plants on here, I feel the need to, because obviously I started my channel to try and share what I was learning, kind of talk about things that have worked, things that hadn't. And when I'm kind of sat very much in the middle, maybe like experimenting with something, or I just haven't quite sussed it yet and I don't have a lot to say about it, that's when I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should just keep this off camera and then come back when I feel a bit more confident. And antheriums, a lot of antheriums, there's a lot of species of antheriums within the genus that I just haven't got my head around, and I've just really been using my secret antherium collection to practice and to enjoy myself without feeling the need to document and speak about all the time. So I will absolutely show you them. There's no real secret there. However, there are some that I have not shown you before, which is quite exciting. So yeah, stay tuned, and I will talk about them at some point. I'll talk about them at some point. Oh God. I'm making progress, but I just don't feel like I'm making progress. I'm also looking at some of these smaller sections that I've divided, and they actually haven't grown that much. So I'm thinking, like, obviously there's a big long bit here. I think they probably actually are wanting to be out of sphagnum moss and have a little bit more room to be able to kind of grow and expand. So I feel like the plant is really going to thank me for this. Do you have any hobbies outside of plants? Yes. Yeah, I absolutely do. I'm trying to think of, so I love crafts. I don't know if that's just like a very broad term. I love drawing. I don't make enough time for drawing. It's the sort of thing that I will go through a phase of like drawing obsessively every single day for a month and like starting a new sketch pad and all this sort of stuff. And then, typical ADHD, forgetting about it for a year and then being like, oh my God, I haven't drawn in ages, and then getting obsessed and doing it again. And in fact, I do that with many, many, many crafts. I've done it with clay, I've done it with knitting, jewelry making, loads and loads of things. Doing my nails at the moment, that is kind of like a crafty obsession. I'm loving, like I've said it before, but I'm loving doing like fun like designs on press-ons. These are actually my ones that I did for Emma's wedding. But yeah, for me, that's kind of like an arty outlet. I mean, I don't know if you call this a hobby, but it's something I really enjoy. I love just like walking. I love exploring new places. Like, although if we're coming into the time of year where it does get a little bit tedious from time to time, but I love going out with Yoli every day. Like, I feel so grateful that she gets me out of the house every day. Because sometimes you do need that push to like, it's not even about exercise. I think just, again, mental health wise, just getting out and getting your heart rate up and kind of clearing your head. Like I typically do my walks with Yoli in the morning, and it just sets my day up like in a really good way. And it also means I've got a nice tired dog. Oh my God, sorry, you have to see her again. Oh, you can't see her looking as cute as you can from the angle I'm at. Oh no, I don't want to disturb her. But yeah, it typically sets my day up really, really well. Then there's other things like, I mean, I love going to the theatre. It's something I've said before, I don't make enough time to do. I love it so much. I know I mentioned in the last video that me and Ross were going to see a musical for my birthday, which is fun. We're going to see Stranger Things, the musical, in December. But I love just like going to the theatre as well. I mean, having access to London, there are some incredible theatres. And I'm trying to think of the last thing I saw, actually. Oh, so I know I wanted to go and see recently. Sadly, I didn't get around to making it, and I have a feeling it might be coming back again. There's an actress called Denise Gough who was in a play, probably actually about 8 years ago now, called People, Places and Things, that was on, was it the Garrick Theatre? I'm not sure. But it was incredible, absolutely incredible. And I saw it when I was in my final year at drama school, and I'd heard lots of good things about it. And often when you hear about something a lot and it's got a lot of hype around it, when you actually see it, you're a bit like, oh. But I saw this play and I thought she was spectacular. And I just thought it was done really, really well. And I ended up seeing it about 3 or 4 times. And that play actually came back. Also, side note, I met her at Comic-Con. I went up to her and I told her how much I loved her in that play. But I saw it was coming back for kind of like a bit of a revival because it had done so well. And obviously her career has gone since then. But yes, I wanted to go. I wanted to take Ross to see it because I was like, I think he hasn't had as much of an interest in theatre as he has done musical theatre, because I think a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time, unless you're in the theatre world, you don't go see a theatre that much. Or at least my family and friends that aren't actors don't. Because I've got a lot of friends who still are in the arts and are actors. But yeah, I was like, that would be a really cool one to take him to see, and we missed it. We just, like, life took over and I completely forgot to book it up. So if it comes back, it's a play that definitely would come with a trigger warning, because it deals with lots of, it's quite a dark play, but it's done in a way that isn't like, oh, heavy. Like, I don't know, when I hear like dark stuff, I always think like GCSE drama, like everything's wrong with the world. And it's not like that. I thought it did a very good job of not being like that. So yeah, it's one that I'd highly recommend. But yeah, I can't actually think what the last thing was that I saw. Anyway, I don't think that was the question. What was the question? Hobbies. Yeah, love going to the theatre. Theatre, arts, crafts. I want to say reading. I really want to get more into reading, and I know you guys have asked before if I'm a big reader, and I'm not. I think like, again, I'm wanting to blame things, but I do just think like ADHD, sometimes it does make it very hard to sit still and focus on something. I find it really difficult. Even, to be honest, I've got TV shows that I love, but even sitting still and watching them I find very difficult. I usually have to be doing something else to actually be able to enjoy it. Yeah, I'll usually be like doing planty stuff or like drawing or doing something else, and I'll be watching at the same time. Or sometimes, and I guess this kind of falls into the body doubling thing, sometimes watching something with someone else can help me to focus on it. But yeah, reading, I just find my brain wanders. I find I get really distracted. There is a book that I read when I was at drama school called The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and it's kind of like, would you call it a murder mystery? It involves, I don't want to say too much in case you read it, but honestly, that book blew my mind. I thought it was incredible, absolutely incredible. I loved the style of writing. I honestly can't believe it hasn't been turned into a movie, because I thought the story was incredible. So yeah, it's something that I, as I say, would really like to get back into, get into. Because I know when you find a great book, it can be really, really lovely. But yeah, what are your hobbies outside of plants? What do you guys enjoy doing? Any weird hobbies or like unusual hobbies? I know I've spoken to some of you in the plant community that do the most incredible things. There was someone I was speaking to recently who was really into acrobatics and like tight roping, and yeah, I find stuff like that fascinating. So let me know. Cool. Okay, so I've got the majority of the sphagnum moss off these roots. These are just very like fine and rooty, but that's what they're looking like. And as I say, I think I would like to go in with semi-hydro. I've got a pot here that I'm going to reuse, and then yeah, I can hopefully get it hanging in there and looking lovely. And as I do it, someone said, please give me encouragement to chop my pink princess. Oh God, I know, like making big chops with your plants is such a scary thing to do. Like Ross always laughs at me because sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't want to do it. And he's like, for God's sake, it'll grow back. And I'm like, that's not the point. I think when you've put a lot of time and energy into growing something, it is absolutely terrifying, the prospect of chopping it. But at the same time, similarly to what I was saying earlier in the video about, is there a plant that I've got rid of and then regrets getting rid of? And I said no, apart from the one. There's never been a plant, I don't think, that I have regretted chopping. Like, there's been some difficult chops, but for example, my Hoya latifolia sarawak that I've got just here, my massive like dinner plate Hoya, this one I was so nervous to chop, and I'm so glad that I did, because now it is such a bigger, fuller, healthier plant. So although it might seem scary right now, I would say take the plunge, do it. If you're a little bit nervous that the sections won't propagate well, then maybe do some air layering first or something like that to just kind of start the plant off. But yeah, don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of it. Embrace it. Like, I keep telling myself that as well. And I think sometimes we just need to remind ourselves of that, because it's all part of just setting our plants up for success long term. Yeah, as I say, I often need to remind myself of that as well. Oh, and I know I just mentioned Comic-Con literally a minute ago. Someone said, have you ever been to San Diego Comic-Con? No, I haven't even been to San Diego. I hear it's amazing. My God, if I won the lottery, I would take Ross there in a heartbeat, because I only really got into Comic-Con because of Ross, because he had been many times before, absolutely loved it. I love dressing up, so we met and we were like, this is great. But yeah, the MCM Comic-Cons that I've been to in London have been amazing. I have loved them so much, so much. They're just honestly the most wonderful days. So much fun, so much to see, so much to do. It's just, I just find dressing up pretty fun. So yeah, I'm very aware of the San Diego Comic-Con. I've heard incredible things and I hope to go at some point. Also, I just would really like to explore San Diego. So yeah, not yet, hopefully further down the line. If you had to recommend 3 plants for someone new, what would they be? So I have made countless beginner plant videos on my channel where I go into much more detail. It depends what kind of plant parent I think you want to be. If you want plants just to be, if you want to just have plants that will just be there in your house, look nice, and that you don't have to do much to, then I would suggest things like snake plants, ZZ plants, other kind of like cacti and succulents that are very low maintenance and you very rarely need to do anything to. Whereas if you are the sort of person that wants to be kind of really quite active with your plants and you want to be doing lots to them, then I would probably recommend, I was going to say something like an alocasia, but I know they can be a bit finicky. There's certain hardier alocasias, like for example, the Alocasia Regal Shield, which in my experience has been really, really easy to care for. It does require more care than like cacti and succulents. It's harder to overwater. Although maybe that might be a weird one for a beginner plant, like maybe that's a bad choice. I actually think it would be quite a good one if you're a plant lover that wants to be doing lots. Also, it's one that like you can mist it a lot and you can dust it a lot and like it will enjoy those things. It won't, like, nothing bad's gonna happen. Yeah, like Aglaonema is a great shout actually for a beginner plant, because it's one that it can just be left alone to do its thing. But again, like I've got one just down here, which I'm not sure you can see. This is my Aglaonema Greyhound, and I've got this one in semi-hydro. And oh, in fact, there's a reservoir. Oh, it's not too dry. But I am constantly like filling this one up and like dusting it, and like it's on the coffee table a lot of the time, so I do just kind of like, I don't know, it's there and I kind of do stuff to it, but it always remains looking lovely. So Aglaonema, I would say, is probably a very good option. Obviously pothos plants, stuff like that. I will, if I remember, I will link some of my beginner plant videos down below. Also, something that I found out really recently and I didn't know was a thing, I don't know if you can do this from your phone, it might have to be from your laptop, but if you go onto a YouTube channel, there's a like by the bar that says like home, videos, community, all of that sort of stuff, there is a little magnifying glass, and if you want to search for something specific, then you can just type a keyword in there and it will show you all of the videos on that. Like I know there's playlists as well, and really I should organise my playlists. But if you go into the search bar and, for example, type beginner, it should in theory show you all of the videos that I've made on beginner plants, or like alocasia or antherium, or like whatever. You can kind of search by keyword, which, as I say, I didn't know was a thing. So yes. But that is it all potted up. That's what it's looking like, and it looks so lovely. And because I've got it in semi-hydro again, as I say, it is just, in fact, I'm going to give it a little bit more. It's just a much lower maintenance way of doing things with this plant, and I'm hoping this will help set me up for success with this plant, because as I say previously, I haven't been great with it. But yeah. Those are, I'm not going, I really want to do something to the narrow form palletiflorum. But no, I'm not. No, I'm going to be good. Those are the things that I brought over to do today, and I've still got questions that I haven't made it through, so I will save them for the next video. But I really hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, if you were doing stuff, then I hope you got lots done as well. And if you did enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.